When I wake at 3 a.m. and see there's barely 90 minutes until my alarm, I feel a bit of panic. I try to focus on my breath, on my sensations, on just being, but my mind just ends up racing even more. It feels like the harder I try to breathe, the more awake I become, until the alarm finally goes off and I get out of bed. I hear versions of this every week, and I understand it, because I've been there too. Here's why standard relaxation techniques don't stabilize sleep after midlife and into advanced age when you've practiced breathwork and stress management consistently, but still can't stay asleep past 5 to 6 hours. You're dealing with something deeper than relaxation technique. This pattern often emerges in the 40s or 50s when hormonal transitions reshape how the body modulates stress and recovery, or following periods of prolonged stress when both stress tolerance and sleep recovery stop feeling the same. The issue isn't calming the nervous system. It's whether your body can sustain that calm state through the second half of the night. Waking at 3 a.m. despite skilled breathing technique isn't just due to stress. It's a mismatch between the calming signal your nervous system receives and the body's internal autonomic readiness to respond to it. The way I explain this to clients: think of it like pressing the brakes when the brake fluid is low, the pedal works, the signal is sent, but without the internal chemistry needed to complete the response, the effect can't fully activate, or activates too weakly. Specifically, breathwork triggers the parasympathetic response through the vagus nerve, but that calming effect is influenced by hormonal status, metabolic state, and receptor-level signaling capacity. For us who are focused on longevity, this matters beyond just feeling tired. Fragmented sleep in the second half of the night reduces time in deeper stages that support the brain's clearance of metabolic waste, memory processes, and cognitive resilience, functions linked to protection against cognitive decline and preserved mental sharpness with aging. My approach: 3 stress hormone patterns that disrupt sleep continuity after midlife and into advanced age for years. I'd had meditation tracks and breathing guides downloaded onto a device on my nightstand, so I wouldn't need to go online in the middle of the night. I'd reach for it whenever I woke, or after getting up to use the bathroom, knowing I'd struggle to fall back asleep. I'd try to calm my way back to sleep. Sometimes I'd fall back asleep after 30 minutes or an hour of following the tracks. More often I'd lie awake until I needed to wake up. What finally helped wasn't getting better at box breathing. It came from understanding the underlying mechanisms that govern sleep continuity after that first window, specifically what disrupts the body's ability to sustain calm through the second half of the night. Here are the 3 factors I've found often associated with this pattern. 1. Hormonal buffering decline and cortisol dominance after 40. The hormones that once cushioned stress responses, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone, decline or fluctuate. They normally help the brain's master clock regulate the daily stress cortisol rhythm so it rises cleanly in the morning and tapers by night. When sex hormone function declines, whether through aging or stress itself, cortisol levels can stay higher for longer. In addition, late night or early morning cortisol elevations become more common. 2. Autonomic readiness limits and weaker vagal response breathing and mindfulness techniques calm the body by activating the vagus nerve, which signals safety and restores balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. Estrogen helps modulate that balance. It enhances parasympathetic tone and can help the vagus respond more effectively. As estrogen fluctuates or declines in midlife, overall vagal activity can weaken, meaning the same long exhale carries less physiological weight. The vagus also functions within neurotransmitter and receptor dynamics. When these are undersupported, the body hears the cue, but doesn't fully act on it. The result: a weaker relaxation response, even when the relaxation practice is technically flawless. 3. Temperature and metabolic instability in the second half of the night. Testosterone supports lean muscle and insulin sensitivity. As it drops with age or stress, glucose handling becomes less efficient. That can lead to subtle nighttime dips or rebounds in blood sugar, both of which trigger sympathetic activation, the body's alert system. Estrogen influences the hypothalamic thermoregulatory centers. When levels fluctuate or fall, the thermoneutral zone narrows, making the body more reactive to small shifts in core temperature. For many individuals, this reactivity can surface in later sleep cycles, when sleep is lighter, and warmth spikes can disrupt sleep continuity. When hormone function becomes undersupported, whether from aging or cumulative stress, heat or energy fluctuations can push the brain toward wakefulness. See the framework we use to stabilize sleep in the second half of the night, how stress physiology rewires sleep architecture after midlife, and into advanced age. Stress itself hasn't necessarily changed. The body's ability to absorb it has. Estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone once helped regulate the body's daily rhythm of activation and recovery. They interacted with cortisol to shape the normal morning rise and evening taper of the stress response, cushioning its impact on sleep. As hormone function declines, whether in midlife, advanced age, or through chronic stress, the body's shock absorbers thin out. The same workload, emotional pressure, or everyday life demands now produces greater physiological impact. Cortisol can rise at 2 to 4 a.m., when it should be at its lowest, and triggers arousal that feels like waking for no reason. These mistimed cortisol peaks fragment the second half of the night and pulls you out of deeper sleep stages. This isn't to say stress management tools are ineffective. It means they're now functioning without the stress-handling foundation that once made them effective. Meditation, breathwork, or relaxation can still quiet the mind, but their effects become noticeably smaller and shorter-lived. This is why individuals often comment familiar routines no longer deliver the same sense of recovery. What has happened is, the underlying hormonal and stress physiology has changed, rebuilding biological resilience for continuous restorative sleep. Moving beyond sleep hygiene, once I stopped focusing on 3 a.m. techniques and started addressing why my body couldn't stay asleep in the first place, my sleep became more stable. The breakthrough didn't come from finding different meditation tracks, trying new breathing patterns, or switching between guided body scans and sound-only recordings. It came from understanding that breath work sends the calming signal, but the body needs adequate hormonal support to translate that signal into sustained rest. I wasn't waking because I couldn't calm down. I was waking because the systems that maintain sleep continuity through the night were under-resourced. Once I began addressing how proper hormone function supports stress regulation and metabolic stability, the 3 a.m. wake-ups stopped. I no longer need the meditation tracks, and now my body sustains sleep on its own. I still wake to use the bathroom, but I fall back asleep within seconds. What's interesting is that in those brief moments I'm awake, I still ruminate, thinking about what happened during the day or starting to plan tomorrow, but I can't sustain that awareness past a few seconds before sleep takes over. That shift from managing middle-of-the-night wakefulness to falling back asleep almost instantly is what became Sleep OS. Hormones, a structured, self-guided program that teaches how to support the hormonal systems that establish the foundation for continuous sleep. By the way, if this pattern feels familiar, especially if it began in your 40s or 50s, or has persisted into advanced age despite years of good sleep habits, see who Sleep OS Hormones was created for. If this helped you, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. To explore the same personalized approach for your sleep, you can look inside Sleep OS, my step-by-step system designed specifically to help you sleep through the night. When 3 a.m. wake-ups won't budge, even if you've mastered sleep hygiene. It's at thelongevityvault.com, and I've added the link in the show notes.